Peaceful greetings to you all. Today I'm going to discuss Moorish movements that are not in alignment with the Moorish divine and national. I'm going to take this opportunity to reveal, to expose, to uncover the innovations and the misinformation. As a matter of fact, hold on. Let me do this so y'all can hear me better. Okay. You should all be able to hear me. You should all be able to hear me just fine now. There we go. Okay. I'm going to go over what I consider. So let's make that statement noted for the record. These are as I consider them to be illegitimate movements within the movement. So, R.V. Bay. The sister goes by the name Resmaya. Resmaya. V. Bay. I believe the V is for Velasquez, I'm not quite sure. But her given name is Rosemary Quarles Bay. If you're like me, when you came into this Moorish movement, this was your primary source of Moorish information. R.V. Bay Publications. You go to R.V. Bay Publications, they show you all of this lawful versus legal information, right? You get into it, and next thing you know, you're attending their blog talks, or you're trying your best to get in whenever information is being distributed. And somehow, some way, you get caught up in this hate mongering for Europeans. This is not the Moorish divine, the national movement. I'm telling you all, this is how would it be called? This is a sect. This is a faction or a fraction. This does not teach Moorish science according to Noble Drew Ali according to Marcus Garvey, according to the ancestors. Okay? And then the Canaan land Moors. So now I was dealing with information coming from Canada. The brother calls himself the brother calls himself Cujo Adwell, but his given name would be Kevin McGlatchio. And this brother, residing in Canada, right? He was also at the time that I came into this movement affiliated with R.V. Bay Publications. And again, learning this information from him, I noticed that there was a hate mongering. Okay. Now he actually calls himself Grand Sheik. Raz Mariah doesn't call herself Grand Sheikess, but I know that she has the official title of Grand Sheikess. This I know for a fact. Ask her yourself. So this brother, his lineage in the movement, I had found out, came through this. And this is going to be another individual who I put up there. So this brother came through this, right? And after my studies, after I've made my conclusions in my studies, I realized that this right here, definitely a splinter, a faction, right? So his credibility became shaky because I realized that his teacher is shaky. Okay. Then we have Brother Taj Tariq Bey. Very influential, very pertinent in my uprearing as far as studies were concerned. Brother Taj Tariq Bey is also a misguider. Now, mind you, in order to be a misguider, you have to have some truth. And the other two that I've mentioned, they were at one point in time, they were all in tandem. They all ran together. They no longer run together because everyone's britches everyone felt like there was no order, basically. There was no true order. Okay. So Brother Taj Tariq Bey, you get to listening to him. He gets to teaching you certain things, right? But then you realize that there becomes this pattern of hate mongering. Okay? Division in Islam, which is not in Islam. Okay? Yeah, all right, yeah, we'll do it that way. Whatever. Then you have Elihu Pleasant Bay, right? Who was born Nathaniel. So he would really be Nathaniel Pleasant Bay. Okay. Okay. It is from this guy and his faction. It is from this guy and his faction that you now hear more saying things like America is Moorish America. If you hear a Moorish American say that America is Moorish America, whether they know it or not, they get this from him. This is the guy who put Jeff Fort in prison and had to leave Chicago and settled out in Norfolk, Virginia. And he changed Chicago and settled out in Norfolk, Virginia. And he changed, just like the other Moors that I mentioned, they changed the literature, their own agenda. Next. The CM Bay Moors were the ones that tell you maybe I should better title this as the Codex Moors. Right? You have the Codex Moors. Sam Bay initiated his own Moorish movement, just like the other ones that I just made mention of. And he misguided out of learning nationality and into learning Freemasonry. We're not Freemasons. We may have the same structure as far as the national order, but we are not Freemasons. McDonald's and Wendy's have the same administrative structure, but they're not the same institution. Okay. These are the Moors. They'll tell you that Islam means I self a master. They'll tell you that Allah means arm, leg, arm, head. All right. And with the exception of Elihu Pleasant Bay that I put up here, everybody else that I put up here, they want to tell you about treaties, which is not a bad thing, but they misinterpret treaties. Okay, that's what they do. They misinterpret treaties. And again, they presented information. They presented information in a manner that is not forthcoming. Okay. These are the CM Bay Moors. Another organ, the Great Seal National Association of Moorish Affairs. Okay. This is a group of them CM Bay Moors. And just let me show you real quick. Taj Tariq Bey had his own organization called Moorish order of the round table. All right. All of these Moorish orders fall under Siambe in the clock of destiny. All of them. They fall under that. Let me see. I don't understand how they can't trace anyone in their own family. It's one of those people. Okay, you can leave. It's one of those people. Okay, you can leave. You can leave. Since you can't be respectful. There we go. We don't need that in here. All right. So you have the GS Nama Moors, right? With the exception of Elihu Pleasant Bay that I've just shown, all of these other Moors fall under they fall under the classification of Native American. Native Americans are not North Africans. Classification of Native American. Native Americans are not North Africans. Okay? And they fall under the Black Freemasonry, Shriner, the Eastern Stars. This is okay. And they fall under the Black Freemasonry, Shriner, the Eastern Stars. This is what they're being taught, Freemasonry, which is similar to Moorish science, but it is not Moorish science, because Moorish science is a pure, man. I'll be right back. Okay, it didn't. All right. The Moorish scientists have a pure and unadulterated administration. When you're dealing with the Native Americans, they deal in tribalism. That is their way. When you're dealing with the Native Americans, they deal in tribalism. That is their way. When you deal with Black Freemasonry, anything black has no standing. This AA 222141 is it's registered as the clock of destiny. And it is also used in the same manner as an EIN that gives tax exemption. Okay. I don't know if I'm spelling that right. We have Brother E. Braswell Bay, Brother R. Jones Bay, and Brother L. Dandridge. I think. Forgive me. I'm not sure. It might be T. Dandridge L. Forgive me if I don't have the right one. So these three brothers are stating that they themselves are the Grand Major Temple of the Moorish Science Temple of America. This is my class. I will teach my class. I will not allow others to teach my class. All right. So you have E. Braswell Bay, R. Jones Bay, Dandridge Joe. None of these individuals are operating the temple as Noble Drew Ali established it. All of them are utilizing information that was stolen from E. Mealy by C. Kirkman Bay and followed down through German Bay and all these other bays. Not to say that the bays are all the bad guys, but a lot of the bays overthrew the movement. None of these individuals are teaching you economic security. None of them. None of them. I think it might either be Kimetu or Kenyu Bay. These are two different brothers, but respectfully, neither one of them. I believe one is a CM Bay more, and then this is one of the brothers who was acting as a legitimate Grand Sheik of the Moorish Science Temple. And again, they're not teaching you those things necessary to make our women, members of our group, better citizens. Right? Yeah. Let's put the name he wanted. Well, we'll just put this up here. The Rise of the Moors. What was it, Jamal? So this group, Rise of the Moors, to me, was the closest, as far as I've seen, to demonstrating as Noble Drew Ali and the movement would do so. But they were still misguiders and misguided. This is the individual and his faction that got caught up. I believe it was in Massachusetts, right? And they were out there talking about they were, citizens and this and that, but they had what they did not have. They did not have this. This says that you have standing as an American. They were calling themselves nationals, and they were running around with them clock of destiny identifications, right? And again, the clock of destiny labels its members as Native Americans. And remember, Drew Ali labeled his Moorish Americans as North Africans, particularly Moroccans, which have white status, which is a different race and ethnicity classification than Native American. Okay. The issue that I had with these brothers, other than the fact that I used to try to talk with this brother, right? I used to have interactions with this brother. So I'm like, yo, man, you're making sense of the movement at the particular time. So I might as well put this up here too, right? At one point in time, he was dealing with the Moorish American consulate, which is another misguiding faction. Okay. And he had left them alone because he had realized that the people who were running it, like Weirdo, like Tajiri, Weirdo, what's her name? Sharon, Tracy, Gail. Both of these sisters being bays, right? So he had noticed that these individuals here were not, first and foremost, understanding law, and secondly, they were passing judgment, and he wasn't willing to be a part of that. So he separated himself from these people, right? And when he separated himself from these people, that's when I was able to start interacting with him, like, hey, bro, whoopty-whoopty-whoop. And we had a fairly open line of communication until he linked up with Kevin McLatchie L, known as Cujo Adwa L, for the Canaan Land Moors. Myself and that brother have personal gripes, which I'm not going to air out in the public. But that brother, Cujo, influenced this brother to no longer deal with me. And he pulled away from me and he cut off communications. And it's like, hey, well, it is what it is, right? So Jamal Latimer Bey, who called himself Jamal Squirrelfoot Bey, was also acting like he was an Indian. Okay. And again, like I said, the demonstration, they were following the law, but they did not have the lawful status, the lawful standing to be recognized. And so when they all got pulled over and they were give me your IDs, and they all pulled out them RV Bay IDs, fuck is this shit? If you're not pulling this out, they're not acknowledging. Okay? And so it's up for debate. It's speculated that Brother Jamal Latimer Bey may have actually been a planted agent. May have been. There's potential there. I don't want to say yes or no for sure. The brother may have actually truly believed what he was doing was right and exact. But nonetheless, it was misguided information. To date, all of these Moorish Science temples of America are out of order. Whether the individual trustees running it would like to tell you that it is, right? Whether they like to say that or not, I'm telling you that it is not. I don't see any of Drew Ali's teachings. I have the majority of Drew Ali's teachings right here. And instead of seeing Drew Ali showed us how to do business, instead of seeing business, I see all of these Moors who come from any one of those factions, right? And they're telling you about I hear them trying to be law professors, which is not a bad thing. But they're teaching you, they're telling you the law, this, that, and the third. But they don't like to say they've gotten with the sovereign citizen movement, and they say things like they're non-citizen nationals, which just means that you're an alien to the United States. And they'll say, yeah, we're aliens to the United States. We're not a part of the federal government, right? Okay, well, are you a part of the state government? If you're a part of the state government, then you're still a citizen of the United States. You're just a state citizen. So I hear them teaching this non-citizen national hoopla, right? Or you'll hear them running off, damn near foaming at the mouth, trying to explain to you status, jurisdiction, venue, and adjudication, right? Or you have them teaching you things like astrology, cosmology, and they'll tell you that it's masonry, it's ancient masonry. Now, mind you, there's nothing wrong with being taught about status, jurisdiction, and adjudication. There's nothing wrong with that at all. There's also nothing wrong with being taught astrology and cosmology, right? But what is the main purpose of the Moorish Science Temple of America? The first object is to uplift fallen humanity. Now, what does that mean? That means status correction. Yeah, that's right. To uplift fallen humanity means to correct the status of all of humanity so that we're equal. Okay? That we're equal, okay? Now, the second purpose, specifically, this is pertaining to everybody. This is everybody. This next one, it says, to teach those things necessary. Oh, damn, it slipped my whole. Yeah, there we go. To teach those things necessary to make men and women of our group become better citizens. Now, I could just almost hear an aggravated Moorish American say, that's not what it says in the 101s. In the 101s, for what purpose was the Moorish Science Temple of America founded? To uplift fallen humanity. Absolutely. When I hear people in the Moorish community say that when I'm doing this, that I'm adding on, or that I'm bringing information that was not applied, it was not expressed in the 101s, that shows me that these individuals have not studied the organization. And so they could not know the purpose of the organization. I'm going to show you so that you know that I'm not making this up, so that you can see. So this is the official organization of the civic group, if you can see it, right? This says the Moorish Temple of Science, right? Right, the Moorish Temple. So this was the civic organization. Now, read that mission statement. For what purpose was the Moorish Science Temple of America founded? To uplift fallen humanity and to teach those things necessary to make men and women better citizens. So the Moors that will argue whether, I'm saying that which is right or wrong, I'm going to show you where they get their information from. We have the Quran questions for the Moorish Americans. Questions for the Moorish Americans. Number 15. If you can read it. Number 15. Yes, number 15. Right? For what purpose was the Moorish Science Temple of America founded? For the uplifting of fallen humanity. That was a common statement. That was showing that the movement is for everybody. But like I said, in its incorporation papers, it also tells you that the movement is meant to teach the members of his group how to be citizens. Okay? Now, going back to all of the AA 222141 Moors, specifically. This is what they sound like. This is their rhetoric. Moors are nationals of the land, not citizens of the United States. That's what the sovereign citizens say. We're not national. We're not state citizens. We're not members of the state. We're separate. We're independent from the United States. Members of the state. We're separate. We're independent from the United States. And many of these Moors who claim this will tell you some retarded stuff like, we're not Moorish Americans. They'll tell you, we're more Americans. Right? And then they'll say because we're American Moors. So I would just like to let you know that Moorish American and American Moor are used synonymously and interchangeably throughout Drew Ali's information. And they've changed the nationality. If you have an allodial national identification card from RV Bay Publications or from any Moorish group, it's going to say more American. It's not going to say Moorish American. Told us Moorish American. They will tell you that the suffix ish means of or pertaining to. As if you're saying that it's kind of like a Moor. It's like a Moor, but it's not a Moor. This is their rhetoric. And for these brothers and sisters to act like, to claim that, they are so studious, right? It escapes me why that they're not able, in their so ancient wisdom, recognize that Ish is, we'll say, Jewish, Phoenician. Ish is, we'll say, Jewish, Phoenician, Vedic. No, not Vedic. Excuse me, it's the wrong term. Aramaic. So we'll just say that this word it's an Eastern dialect. Ish means man. Ish means man. It doesn't mean of or pertaining to. So when you see Moorish, it is very similar to Moor man. And if you know, like I know, the Mormons are the closest sect of Christianity to Islam. Since Moor means love and Ish means man, then the Moorish is the love of God made manifest. That's what Moorish pertains to. It doesn't mean of or like, but not quite. It does not mean this is not an English word. The same way we write the same way we write Quran in English, right? It's not an English word. It's a transliteration of a word in the Arabic, which is Quran, which would look like, if you're using, it would look like this. Quran, okay? But in English, we write it as Quran, right? Ish means man. And then they even go and try to tell you, right, what is the name of the first man, right? And I've heard Taj, he said Aisha. It is not Aisha. It is not Aisha. It is Ish. Isha. The one they called Jesus was known as Isha, right? Man. He's the perfected man. He's not of or pertaining to anything. The Ish, this is the name of the first man, and subsequently, Ish in Islamic tradition means inner love, the love within, right? Whereas the word hub means the love on the outside. So Jesus is love, the love within. Just a quick lesson for you, all right? So there are many Moorish Americans out here, and even people posing as Moorish Americans out here, who are trying to sell you some misinformation. They're not giving you the complete information. Now, I'm going to point out exactly why all of these individuals that I've mentioned, I'm deeming to be distractions. Because Jurali's movement is, because it's still moving, dedicated to saving our present and future economic power. This is Jurali's movement is dedicated to saving our present and future economic power. Jurali's movement was about business equity. This is what his movement is about. And so teaching me astrology and cosmology, that's great and it's appreciated. Teaching me status, jurisdiction and venue, and adjudication, that's extremely appreciated. But are you teaching me business? Are you teaching me commerce? Are you teaching me Islamism? They are not. They are teaching you all of this other stuff to distract you from the main objective of the movement, which is to teach us how to be citizens. Now, Elihu, Pleasant Bay, R. Jones Bay, Broswell Bay, and I'm not sure too tough about Dandridge Jail, but I would imagine if he's claiming to be the actual organized temple, they may be attempting to teach you some of this stuff, but they're not. But everybody else that I made mention of, they're not teaching you any of this. They're not teaching you any of this. As a matter of fact, R.V. Bey teaches that the FRNs, the Federal Reserve notes, the dollar bills, whatnot, they teach you that these things are not to be used. You shouldn't be using these things, right? But they simultaneously tell you to invest in their publishing company. Don't use those Federal Reserve notes anywhere else, but right here, give them to us. Makes no sense. Why would you tell me that these are bad, but give them to you? And then they further tell you not to go into the public and do any business. They say you're supposed to remain private. Cool, I'm private. Oh, you can do this, you can do that. Show me that you've done it. They can't show you that they've done it. What they can show you is, yes, our travel IDs, and they've done it. What they can show you is, yes, our travel IDs and this and that. You're able to get on the train. You're able to get on the bus. You're able to get on an airplane, right? So you're able to do these things with their IDs, but you can't go across seas with it. You can't go across seas with it. Now the brother Jamal, his wife, she had showed me. Can't remember her name right now. But I remember that she was pregnant. It was during her pregnancy, and she was working as I believe, what is it called? Like a barmaid. Figure that. But anyway, she was working in some capacity with the AA2222141. And she had showed me, there was a whole, oh, look, it's snowing outside. She had a whole dissertation on their YouTube at the time, showing how she was able to cash her check. She was just showing that her ID using this, that you were able to utilize it in business, right? And she was explaining it. And that's what made me realize that once I had my passport, I would do this. But so she showed that you could use their Lodio ID to work, right? That's what's up. These little things, they're little helps. This AA222141 pours into the clock of destiny. This pours back into the clock of destiny. Okay, when you use the exemption, you're using their exemption. I would have liked to have seen her tax return. Were you able to get your tax return? Well, she had been able to get her tax return using this information. Right? But anywho, we have people out here who are demonstrating misinformation. Again, I tell you that this is so far. This is all of the. Again, I tell you that this is so far. This is all of the information that I've reviewed and have found to be right and exact in Noble Drew Ali's presentation of his economic security redemption manual system program. Excuse me. All of these people tell you that they're not citizens. Drew Ali tells you that you're a citizen of the United States. He didn't make a distinction. He said of the United States. No, prove it. Okay. Oh, they're chopping me up so bad. It's from a divine warning by the prophet for the nations. Jirali he says, so there isn't but one supreme issue for my people to use to redeem that which was lost, which is their citizenship. And that is through the above statements. Then the lion and the lamb can lie down on yonder hills, and neither will be harmed. Why? He said, because love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice will be reigning in this land. Then he says, in those days, the United States will be one of the greatest civilized and prosperous governments. So he used the United States. The greatest civilized and prosperous governments. So he used the United States. He used the United States of America, and he used North America interchangeably. And just as a little bit more evidence, because evidence is king around here. Again, I'm going to show you. These are the incorporation papers of the Moorish Temple of Science, where Noble Drew Ali first started his organization. And if you follow behind my finger, what does it call us? Citizens of the United States. Citizens of the United States. Now, mind you, this is after 1913. So if he's calling us citizens of the United States after 1913, then he must feel as though that title is still applicable. You cannot be a national of any country without being a citizen, a constituent member, a constitutional member of the state. Drew Ali teaches us in his literature that we have two selves. Okay? And mind you, his whole movement is about commercial, economic security. He's talking about commerce. Okay? He tells you that you have two selves, right? And he calls you a U.S. citizen. And he says that you are not black, Negro, or colored. And he says that you are rulers of the land. He says that you're North Africans, okay? This is a U.S. stateless 14th Amendment unconstitutional He said that you have two selves, that it's in you, but that one self has to rise above the other. He's telling you that you're not a black, stateless, 14th Amendment, unconstitutional citizen. That's a U.S. citizen. But there's also we'll say state affiliated, Article 4, Section 4, constitutional citizen. And mind you, this is the white citizenship status. Okay? So Drew Ali is telling his Moorish Americans, right? He's not telling them that they're Indians. He's definitely not telling them that they're Indians. Why? Because the Indians have their own race and ethnicity classification. Absolutely. I know what I'm looking for. All right, I'll use this, brothers, real quick. Drew Ali is calling his Moorish Americans North Africans, okay? Why is that important? If you read the race and ethnicity form, and you look down and read white, it says a person having origins in any of the original peoples of Europe, the Middle East, or North Africa. That's in the United States. White is sovereign. White is a state citizenship. It is the in law. This citizenship is unconstitutional, which means that it is outlaw. It is out of law. This is an outlaw. This is in law. Truthfully, in law. Family, right? Your in-laws, extensions, the family. None of these Moorish movements that I've made reference to is explaining to you this. They're not telling you that this is your nationality. Well, yeah. They're not expressing to you that this is your nationality code. They're not telling you this is your nationality code. Those that are still in the organization are still running around with those little pieces of paper IDs that are outdated, even though Drew Ali says in his oral statements that your nationality card is going to change on you in your pocket. And then you have these outside movements trying to give you a load of your IDs with AA2221 for one, identifying you as a native. And then you have these outside movements trying to give you a load of your IDs with AA2221 for one, identifying you as a Native American. Identifying you as a Native American. Another thing, let me go into that, right? So earlier I was showing you that there's some individuals who've changed their name. Drew Ali told us, do not get rid of our slave names. What is a slave name? Don't get rid of your slave name. Or don't get rid of your debtor person. Because back in his time, these birth certificates weren't yet issued. But he was letting us know that they were going to be issued. But he said, do not get rid of your slave name. Now you got all these Moors talking about your last name is your slave name. No, that's not the slave name. The slave name means the debtor personality. He said, don't get rid of these. Right? He said, do not change your slave names. He said to annex your title. So if Brandon Davis is the identity of my debtor person, he told me don't get rid of it. He told me to annex my title to it. So now there's a title holder of the name. And so now there's a title holder of the name. And so now this becomes my assumed name in business. This is the title holder of this name. On this debtor instrument, on this debt, instrument, which is not a bad, right? I've attached a creditor's title to it. And so now Brandon Davis is distinguishable from Brandon Davis L. And they can't argue that it's a different name. No, the name is the same. It is the same name. He told me not to get rid of this name because I have birthrights under them. He told me to annex my title. Now, we learn about title holders in due course, etc. The one with the title, he's telling us to have the highest title. If creditor is the highest title, no one's above that. No one's above me. I am the principal. This is the principal title. Okay? But you have people who've changed it. Like, again, you have a brother named Kevin McLatchie. Drew Ali said, don't get rid of this. But what did the brother do? He got rid of it entirely. He calls himself now he has a right to do business in any name he so chooses, so long as it's not being done in fraud. But did he follow the Prophet's instructions? No. This brother got rid of all of this. He doesn't use any of this. Drew Ali, all of this. He doesn't use any of this. Drew Ali told you that you have birthright. You have a birthright under this information. He's saying that these debits can be collected as credits. You have rights over this. You have a claim over this. But you see that this brother didn't follow Drew Ali's interpretation or instructions. Let me show you somebody else. Mariah V. Bay. But she was born I don't know if the V stands for Velasquez or Viscarrando, but I know that I found her name on the Duns and Bradstreet dealing with her her publication. Her name is documented as Rosemary Quarles. Drew Ali said, don't change this. What did she do? She got rid of this whole name. She's also telling you, don't use this. She's telling you, do away with this. Drew Ali didn't tell you to do away with this. Drew Ali told you to leave this as it is and do business with your title, with your name annexed to your title. Okay. And then again, just showing you all. Brother was born Nathaniel Pleasant. He's now running around. Is that the name that's on your birth certificate? Drew Ali was telling you not to change anything. So anyone go in and changing information on a social security card or a birth certificate, you're not following the proper instruction. All right. Another individual I just showed you. He was running around calling himself this. But we found out this is the name the brother was born under, right? All he had to do was this. But no, what did he do? Drew says some of you are going to give up your names. Drew says some of you are going to give up your names for a morsel of bread. All of these individuals that I've shown you. And here comes another famous one. And mind you, I don't know the name that this brother was born under. So I've kept this in for quite some time because I didn't see the need to express it. But now is a perfect opportunity to express. I used to talk with the brother Taj. I used to have a direct line to the brother. I cut communications off, right? But in one of our dialogues, I cut communications off, right? But in one of our dialogues, I had asked him, man, this is cutting. In one of our dialogues, I had asked him about cashing out the birth certificate. And he had explained to me that that's not what to do. And he had admitted to me that that's something that he had done back in his early ages. And so he was explaining that he's telling me from experience that that's not what to do. So Taj he unalived his straw. Right? He got rid of it. Drew Ali told you not to get rid of it. But he's telling you that he had gotten rid of it, right? And that's why he's running around with the AA 2221 for one, because he has no right of claim. Birth certificate, and you don't use it as it's supposed, and you don't use it to establish yourself, right? You lose all right of claim. All right of claim. I'm not going to sit here and tell you about astrology, cosmology. I'm not going to sit here and tell you about what to do in court. I'm not going to tell you about any of these things if I cannot show you that I have done it myself. Do you hear me talking about astrology and cosmology? No. It's not my field of study. As a professor, as a principal of the university, my field of study is civics. It is philosophy. I'm a mystic. Okay? For those of you who don't know, I'm a mystic Muslim. I would be considered a Sufi Muslim, which is not an orthodox or mainstream Muslim by any means. But I'm not teaching you cosmology because I myself have yet figured out how to apply it. Right? There are brothers out there, like Brother Hassan Ghazil Bey, who knows when it comes to astrology, cosmology, and things of that nature. That brother, he's mind blowing, and his interpretation of law is also very well. I don't have much to say in the negative about the brother, and anything that I may have had negative to say, it's not important to say at this moment. But he is one of the brothers who changed his name. Doesn't mean that his information isn't solid. Just means that in his past he made a move. Right? Anywho, we don't know who this man is. Right here. So again, you have these Moorish Americans who are in the Moorish Science Temples of America, and they're teaching you everything except active civics. I have yet, well, the brother Dandrigel and some of his dirty Moors, they say that they are teaching brothers and sisters how to do certain things, and that's what's up. But the character of the Muslims that come out of his group that I've encountered, there's some they have arrogance in their heart, and that's not the character of a true Muslim in any fashion, right? And so if that's what is coming out of his temple, if that is the incense, if that's the fragrance that is coming from the incense that's burning at his altar, I don't want it. I don't want a piece of it. I don't want that. Right? If they're arguing with you about here's another thing. Any Moorish Americans out here talking about we are the mothers and fathers of humanity, they're batshit crazy. That is not in any of the Moorish literature. Let me show you what Noble Drew Ali says about us and our relationship, right? As far as mothers and fathers. Drew Ali says that he says that the Moorish Americans are the descendants of the mothers and fathers of civilization. He doesn't say that we are the mothers and fathers of humanity. He doesn't say that we are the mothers and fathers of humanity. Humanity is everyone. Civilization is governance. But you have Moors out here who are running around who are even inviting people to debate and argue human existence. That's totally absurd. The divine covenant of the Asiatic nations tells you that we're all ain't but one mother and one father. Ain't but. It's not us. We come from it, like everyone else comes from it. What are you talking about? From it. What are you talking about? But yet again, you have these off the path Muslims, right? That want to tell you dumb shit like this. I can prove to you that Drew Ali was not explaining that. Any Moorish Americans saying that we're mothers and fathers of humanity, they don't know. They don't know. Let me show you something real quick, just briefly. Let's go. I think I might have spelled that wrong. But let's go back to Mesopotamia. Why are we going back to Mesopotamia? Because we're going back to Noah. Okay? According to the story of Noah, right? After the flood. So that means when the flood came, which was really just an economic reset, but we'll keep to the boogie. We'll keep to the face value story. When Noah hits land, right? He gives praise to the God of his forefathers. Who is the God of Mesopotamia? Anu. If you were to Google search right now, what is the oldest documented name for God? You'll find American Nationals University right there. You'll find Anu. Okay? Now, Anu is short for, okay? Now, Anu is short for Anunnaki. Okay? Now, the story of the Anunnaki is that they came to Earth and they found hominids. There were already human-like existence, which corresponds with the story in Genesis when you see in chapter 1, there's a whole creation of humans. And then in chapter 2, there's the man who is made in the image of God, of the gods, of God, of the gods. Okay? And so the story goes that the Anunnaki created these hominids, right, to be slaves, to be workers, right? And that there was an issue in regards to genetics where they couldn't create on their own, right? And it was just too much of an event to keep reproducing them the way they were doing. And so, long story short, one of the female Anunnaki, right, they basically took the sperm of one of the hominids and placed it through her and bore out an entity or a hominid that had its genetic makeup in it, right? And now they're able to reproduce through one another, right? So when we hear that there's one father and one mother, we're talking about Anu and Antu. Or, if you wish, we could be talking about Yahuwah and Asherah. Or Adam and Eve. But my point is that it is the Anunnaki, or it is the creators. It's the sun, moon, Mars, Mercury, Jupiter, Saturn, and Neptune. These are the mothers and fathers that come together to create. These are not the Moors. The Moors, as you would have it, were created in the same manner that every other creation was created. So when you hear them boasting about, oh yeah, Yakub, the grafted, that big-headed devil, is bullshit. We don't teach that in this movement. We don't teach that. Because that's yet another parable that's just fucking fascinating and full of awe. It's awful. Awful. Not good at all. So again, when you hear Moors out here talk about, yeah, we created all of these European albions, no the fuck you didn't. No the fuck you didn't. Not only did you not create these are your these are your equals. These are your equals. How do we know? Because you'll hear Moors who, when I say that, they'll get batshit crazy, talk about we ain't equal to the European. Nigga, what did Drew Ali tell you? He told you that you had white status, and that's the same status that the European Muslims and the Middle Eastern Muslims share with the North African Muslims. Okay. Let's recap. They paused me out. They paused me out. So we back. All right. Like I was saying, if it is not found in Noble Drew Ali's assertions about his own program, then it is a foreign doctrine, and it is an innovation in the movement. This is all of Noble Drew Ali's doctrine to date that I could muster up. No one in the Moorish movement is going to dispute any of this. They cannot dispute any of this. What they do is they pick out of this and they leave some for others. They don't bring it all. I'm bringing it all out boldly. This is Drew Ali's movement. In this movement, in his program, he is not teaching anything about segregation, division, disunity. He's not saying that any group of people is better or worse than any group of people. He's making it known that every nation of people have suffered slavery due to them not honoring their own ancestral trust in the state administration. If they up here arguing with you about whether they Jews or not, because there's a lot of Moors out there, they want to be Yahudi, and that's fine if you want to be Yahudi. But in our literature, Drew Ali makes reference, beware, it says, lo, behold, beware to he who calls himself a Jew. So if you want to go around and talk about, we is the Israelites, by all means, be that. I'm a Moabite. I share the blood of the Israelite, but we have different ways. See, the Israelites, according to the order of Melchizedek, which Drew Ali is basically a part of, right? The Israelites let go of the Most High God, El Elyon, and took for themselves Yahuwah, which is like the demiurge. It's a lower. It's not the whole council. It's like they took one of the board of directors out of the council and said, we're just going to listen to him. We're not going to listen to the whole staff. They let go of the law. The Israelites were persecuted because they were the ones who went against the law. They did not uphold the law. What is the law? That all are equal. You can't walk around calling people goyim and then expecting yourself to be in law with the Most High. I declare all Moorish Science Temple of America out of order. All of them. If you're not dealing with economic security, if you're not creating jobs, if you are not a union, if you are not showing, let me show you. I'm going to let you know what Drew Ali he published this, and he's telling you what is to be expected. You heard me? What is to be expected of his movement. This is how you check as to whether the Moorish Science Temple of America that might be on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, or even in your section of your city. This is how you see as to whether they are right in alignment or if they're just some offshoot trying to get by, trying to sound like they smart, but really feeding off your ignorance. So now you get to figure this out. This is from the newspaper article of the Moorish Guide newspaper called Our Dollars and Cents. That's what I'm going to read. The doctrine of economic security. Wow. Islamism is the doctrine of economic security. The doctrine of economic security is by no means as widespread and intensive among Americans of our group as the circumstances demand. And the more written and said on the subject, the better, which is why I do what I do. We need to more earnestly urge conscientious support of the businessmen and women of our group in their chosen fields of endeavor. The greater the success of their business enterprises, the more open gates of opportunity there will be for our youth of today and tomorrow. Think of this fact. We need to urge that our businessmen and women build on the principle of service. But you got these Moors out here acting like they just masters everybody, right? They're fucking weirdos. We need to urge greater cooperation among them to render courteous, honest, and efficient service to the buying public. We're supposed to be out here doing business. They should not expect any support and patronage merely on the grounds that they are racemen and women in business, but for the reasons that the service and the quality of their goods and products they sell are equal in value to the service and merchandise offered to the public by any other business people. So we're supposed to be out here with all kinds of businesses out here. What do we got? The Moorish Science Temple of America. That's it. That's it? What is the Moorish Science Temple of America selling to the buying public? Them niggas is walking around like they in a social club. They ain't even letting other people in to learn. Fuck out of here. There should be maintained a cooperative spirit, which we don't have in the Moorish movement. There should be maintained a cooperative spirit among our businessmen and women to keep their business places as clean and sanitary as any similar places in any other section of the city. The Moorish Science Temple of America is supposed to be a union that's establishing businesses for our businessmen and women. Where is it? Citizens, so that knocks anyone saying that we're not, citizens of our group should cultivate a sound vision when it comes to the necessity of buying professional service, merchandise, provisions, etc. Again, he's talking about commerce. This is commercial activity. Do you see it out there from the Moors? We should look beyond the direct result and object for which we invest our money. we should lose sight of the mere fact that we received a dollar's worth for a dollar spent. But we should keep in mind the necessity of keeping each dollar spent as much as possible within the spheres of our own activities, where they will create further openings of business, enterprises, and wider opportunities for the men and women of our group to procure soundly remunerative employment. So he just told us that what did he say? Keep the dollar in the circle. Group economics. Do you see that? I don't see it. I don't see it in not one. I don't care who it is, where it is. You cannot show me a Moorish Science Temple of America or a Moorish Science Temple of America Inc. or this kind of Moorish Science. You can't show me this. You can't show me that. I've been looking for it. Maybe I have to build it. Because if you build it like Jir Ali built it in his day, they will come. And they will come running. He says, forward must be the watchword of the seller and buyer alike. This man's talking business. He's talking business. He says, we make the money and we spend the cash. Let us sincerely cooperate one with the other. Our plight will change when we change ourselves. Hold on, I'm not done yet. Yeah, here we go. We're going to find now we're going to talk about the Moorish Science Temple of America. All right? Listen to this, and you tell me what Noble Drew Ali's the movement is about. You tell me whether it's about come sit here and listen to me read to you out of the Circle 7 Quran, and we're going to make you pay dues even though we ain't got no jobs for you. You got to go pay your motherfucking taxes out there in another national organization's business. Then you got to come in here and still pay your dues even though we're not giving you some shit. Anywho, the Moorish Science Temple of America was founded by the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. By the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Aside from the fact that it is a legally organized religious corporation, it is building on human needs. To this desirable end in time, legitimate means will be found to dispense charity and provide for the mutual assistance of its members in times of distress. The Moorish Science Temple is empowered to do what? To dispense charity and provide for the mutual assistance of its members in times of distress. That's insurance. That's insurance. Doesn't that sound like Social Security? To aid in the improvement of health. Sounds like private health care. And to encourage the ownership of better homes. Sounds like estate planning. Sounds like estate planning to me, so far. To find employment for our members. Show me one more Science Temple of America that's doing that today. Show me. That's what it's empowered to do. It's supposed to create jobs. But these Moors are out here working other jobs, paying taxes, and then coming into the organization, right? And paying their dues there. But their organization is, I mean, if you go to a Mason, if you deal with a Mason's Lodge, most of them motherfuckers are doctors and all of that, right? They have jobs that were established through their lodge. Shriners too. What does the Moorish Science Temple of America offer today? Because in the time that it was established, we had all kinds of jobs under that. We ain't got none of that today. He says, and to teach those fundamental principles which are desired for our civilization, such as obedience to law, respect and loyalty to government, tolerance and unity. I don't see none of that shit in any of these Moorish movements. None of that. I don't I don't see anyone teaching obedience to law. I see these Moors out here. I see these Moors out here being radical, having radical assertions towards the law, misinterpreting the law like sovereign citizens do. Respect and loyalty to government. I don't see any of that. I see these Moorish Americans out here acting like they are the fucking government. Like, fuck y'all, it's us. And in the temples, I don't see any of the Moors, I don't see any of the temple members being civically active out in the world at all, in any manner. They hush hush inside, and they're loud and radical and agitating outside. Right? I don't see any tolerance or unity being expressed by any of these wanna be Moorish Americans, inside or outside of the temple. I don't see it. I don't see the tolerance. I hear a lot of these Moors out here shooting down people because of them being Christian. Oh, you Moor, you ain't no Christian. What you mean Christianity? Yo, where is the religious tolerance? Let them do them. We got scripture that tells us to let the dead bury their own. Don't even look, man. Let them do them. We do us. We over here. We ain't got no respect, tolerance, and unity. I don't see two. I know of one group of Moorish Americans, and that's not to say that there aren't any more, but I know specifically of a brother in Detroit, Michigan, who has unity relationships with a Christian pastor. And the Christian pastor is working with the Moorish American sheik, right, for them to develop land. So it's possible. It's fucking possible. But what's up with Braswell Bay? If he's right. What's up with R. Jones Bay? If he's right. What's up with Dandridge L? If he's right. I don't see any of that. I'm supposed to, when I come to the Moor Sons Temple of America, it's a union. And I'm supposed to be paying dues, taxes, and what my return on the investment is supposed to be means to dispense charity and provide for the mutual assistance of myself as a member in times of distress. That's called an emergency fund. That's an insurance fund. I don't see anyone telling me about aiding in the improvement of health and encouraging the ownership of better homes. I see these Moors out here running around and teaching you about what's it called? For adverse possession. I hear them teaching you about adverse possession, which is taking somebody else's shit. But I don't see anything about being taught how to take our finances and invest it into our own ownership of homes. I don't see that shit. And again, those fundamental principles, no, I don't see them finding employment for the members. The Moor Sons Temple of America is supposed to be finding employment for its members. It's a union. It's not a social fucking club. It's a union. Check this out. It is most earnestly hoped that the Moor Sons Temple of America will not in any way be confused with any Back to Africa movement. But I hear all these Moorish Americans out here talking about, we ran Africa, we were the gods of Africa. Nigga, we ain't worried about that. We're here. We're at home here, man. We need to deal with what's here. not out there. We ain't supposed to be given any implication that we're even trying to return somewhere. We at home. What do you mean? This Moorish Temple of America, this movement definitely, I've heard people call it, yeah, it's like a black nationalist movement. You know, it's like a back to Africa movement. And I'm like, where are y'all getting this from? It's from these incompetent, dirty Moors or ignorant Muslims, right? Who are out here who haven't studied. They don't know. They don't even know their path. They're getting information from like groups that I've mentioned prior to and other groups. They're not getting any of the information. No one's giving them Drew Ali. This is Drew Ali. This is him. This is what he left you so that you want to talk to me. If you want to know what I said about my movement, here's the literature. Here you go. I left it there for you to see. They're not getting any of this. So they can't tell you any of this. I'm giving you this. Check this. He said it is most earnestly hoped that the Moorish Temple of America will not in any way be confused with any back to Africa movement. Such is not important insofar as American citizens of our group colonizing Africa are concerned. We're not saying that we're the colonizers of Africa. We're saying we're the colonizers of America. And understand that colonization is not a negative term unless it has a negative influence. The word has two meanings. It has two sides. Just like an organized group of people coming together to do good in society, right? That's called a national organization or fraternal order. But if they do it in the negative, it's called a gang. But they're operating off the same principle, right? So we're the first ones to civilize or to colonize. Our ancestors colonized Americas and established estates in the land for their posterity. That's our concern. We're not concerned about what anyone did over there in Africa. We're not trying to go there. We're here. We'll do business there, but home is right here. Right the fuck here. It says, now catch this. We of the Moorish Temple of America, like countless other American citizens. So he just put us on an equal level. On an equal level. They just want attention. Okay. There we go. It says, we of the Moorish Temple of America, like countless other citizens, like countless other American citizens, know that we must live together here in America in harmony, friendship, and goodwill, whatever our race and creed may be. We're supposed to be living in harmony, friendship, and goodwill with all other American citizens. But just like the numbskull who was putting the little dumb stuff in the mud, right? There are people who come and address the Moorish Americans like we ain't shit because we've been out here acting like we some ain't shit people. I can't be mad that the brother was putting that down there because he believes I'm one of them nut ass Moors out here that does not know that we're supposed to be acting in harmony. You know what I'm saying? He thinks that. There's a lot of people out there who look at the Moors and can't decipher. They can't discern between who's doing right and who's doing wrong, most people don't even take the opportunity to learn. This is what the Moorish Americans are supposed to be adhering to. If you truly wish to know what they're supposed to do so that you can then appropriately correct them, get this information. Learn it. I hold them to it. I hold them on to this. That's why a lot of them don't like me. I don't care if you don't like me. You're not going to ruin what this brother brought. Let me continue. He says, it is only from a purely religious standpoint, it seems at this time, that we differ from a large number of our fellow Americans. So outside of the religious, trust and administrative processes that Muslims partake in, he's saying that outside of that, we're the same as every other American citizen up in this motherfucker. He is not saying that we run America. That's not what he's saying. I don't see that in any of his literature, that the Moors were just these people above everybody else. Because you have to understand that the Moors were tradesmen. So they were doing business with all other people. They were coming into agreements with people. And the ordaining and establishing of America is a contractual agreement between the Moors, the Europeans, and the Middle Easterners. How do we know that? Standard Form 181 tells us that anyone who is white falls within that class. So we're not supposed to be out here running around like we better than any motherfucking body. It's not the movement. He says we believe in and foster the Muslim religion. The Muslim religion is dealing with equity. In all one's affairs, you must act righteous. That's what we're talking about. Okay. He says we believe in and foster the Muslim religion. We believe in its principles. We believe in the principles of its teachings, insofar as they can be adopted to American life. We feel that the Christian religion is all right for those who prefer it. So we ain't supposed to be out here making war with none of these Christians. Trifling, trampling, trying to talk crazy to these people because of their way. Let them do them. We're supposed to live here in harmony, in tolerance and unity. For all of these wannabe Moorish scholars, do y'all not understand that during Islamic rule, the Muslims were looked at as even though in some renditions they say that we were the bad guy, there's not a place on this planet where the Moors went that the situation did not better themselves. And when these Moors or their information was removed from the land, that motherfuckers didn't go into some type of decline. What am I saying that for? Because in Islam, under Islamic rule, everyone has the right to do them so long as you don't violate nobody else. So what is all of this extra dumb bullshit? Were you out here talking crazy to the Christians, to the Jews, to any fucking bodies? We all out here. We're supposed to be working together. We all out here. Where's your religious tolerance? How can you expect someone to tolerate you as in your way, in your faith, when you're intolerable your fucking self? Make it make sense. Make it make sense. We talking about equity. If you desire equity, you must do it, nigga. Fuck out of here, man. He says, in America, religious freedom is guaranteed all under the Constitution. So he's telling us that all of us are bound by the Constitution. What you talking about? The Constitution was made for them, not for us. That's RVB saying dumb shit like that. Talk about the Constitution was established so that for the foreigners, not for us. Fuck you mean? Stupid shit. Anywho, it says we are interested in freeing ourselves and our children from the greatest plight, economic slavery. Now remember, in the last reading, he said that our plight will change when we change our conditions, right? So he says we are interested in freeing ourselves and our children from the greatest plight, economic slavery. We believe this can best be done by encouraging, patronizing, and establishing our own business enterprises and cultivating our own acres of land as an organization. Where is it at? Where is it at? I don't see it. This is my movement. I'm a part of this movement. And I don't see the things that were left for me here. I don't see them. I know what I'm looking for. The man told me what to look for, and I don't see it. There's a problem. He says we welcome into our folds men and women of our group of all sections. Listen, all trades, that's business. Occupations, that's business. And professions of sound mind and good character. He's talking commerce to you, baby. Where's it at? Where's the commerce at? He says we are friends and servants of humanity. So if we're servants of humanity, we're not masters. We're here to assist. We're here to uplift. We're not here to put our foot on anybody's neck. All those individuals that I mentioned in the beginning, they're here to put your foot, they feel like they're telling you that others put the foot on your neck, and so you must in turn do the same to them. Drew Ali has told us that segregation, Jim Crow, and everything that harms, it doesn't come from other people. He's telling us that it came from our actions. Keep that in mind, okay? It says we are friends and servants of humanity. We are dedicated to the purpose of elevating, of uplifting the moral, social, and economic status of our people. We have set about to do this through a wide and comprehensive program embodying the principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, embodying the principles of equity. A true Moorish American is not here to debate anyone about cosplay. We're not here to debate anyone about being working with the Europeans and whatnot and causing destruction in the land. We know that these things happen. We are aware of that. We also are aware that these things have happened to other. We also are aware that these things have happened to other nations by other nations. They've happened to other nations by other nations, just like it's happened to us. And these injustices have all happened for the same reason, because the people at the time were not aware. They were ignorant of their rights. They were ignorant of their authority. And that's what allowed them to be treated as second class, not first class, but second class citizens worldwide. We know that we got some shit about us. We know that as a nation of Moors, all over, talking about all the Moors all around the world, we know that we have some negativity in our movement. right? We have to balance that. We have to understand that. We have to acknowledge that there have been things that our ancestors have done to other people that have been destructive. And in order for us to redeem ourselves, right, we have to stop acting like that, and we have to start changing our condition so that more people will be able to embrace us. No one's embracing the Moorish Americans. Part of me wanted to lead this movement because it's like, damn, man, these niggas a bunch of clowns, man. They don't even know what they fucking talking about. I had a talk with a brother on the phone yesterday. We were discussing how there came a time in our lives and shit when we realized that these niggas was out here doing all this dumbass shit. We didn't want to put our fezzes on. Because anytime you see a fez, the first thing they want, the people want to say they're black identity extremists. They want to say that we're black identity extremists. They want to say that we're sovereign citizens. They want to say that we're a cult. They want to say that we're not real Muslims. It's like, damn, man. And this perception is coming from the fact that there are no true Moors out there. But neither one of us are taking our feathers off because we understand that if we're going to be the change we seek, then we have to wear that and let it be known that this. Let me show you. I have to let the world know that this is not a colonizer's piece. This is not cosplay. This is not misappropriation. This is my culture. I stand behind this. I know what this means. And if I have to be if I'm the only one in a crowd of 1 million people all wearing fezzes that stand for the truth, then it's just going to have to be what it is. I'm not taking my fez off. I don't take my fez off in court. I don't take my fez off in any federal building. Everywhere I go with my fez. Or a turban. Something wrapped up on my head. All right? So, again, we're not Masons. For the Moors out there talking about what Masons, do you know what Masons do? Right? And it's not even Masons, bro. It's Shriners. It's the Shriners. The Shriners are the master Masons who have now come to Islam. Right? The Shriners pin their tassels down. The Shriners mark their fezzes, not the Masons. The Shriners. Drew Ali is showing us that we're not Shriners. The Shriners have a division, the Negro or the colored division and the so-called white division. Drew Ali is showing you we're removing all of that because all are equal. You can't make me a Muslim. Muslim means mastermind. You see, Freemasons, they're master Masons, they're most worshipful masters and all of that. They are made. They are made. They're secret. You got to come in and you got to do what we say. And, in order to rise up the ranks, we're going to make you into it. Nah, nigga, I was born on a square. You heard me? I was born upright. I was born perfected. So I don't need to put all of that stuff on my fez and link down my tassel. I'm the plain truth. Drew Ali made it plain. He made it plain. You hear me? That we have equal status and standing with all other free white Americans. He is showing us that white does not apply to your skin tone or the fact that you are from Europe alone. Even America, look, even the United States tells you that white does not mean European. It tells you that white does not mean European. Again, the SF 181 form. White means a person having origins in any of the original peoples of Europe, the Middle East, or North Africa. So it cannot mean that your skin tone being paler than others, that's what makes you white. Because you get pale skin and dark skin and all the skins in between in any and every nation. Look at the Mexicans. They're Afro-Mexican. They're not Afro anything. They are dark-skinned Mexicans. And then you have pale-skinned Mexicans. Look at the Hindu people. They're not all pale-skinned. You've got dark-skinned Hindus or the true Indians, if you will, right? That are darker than me. And it's pale as Salma Hayek. And they're all Hindu. All of them. They don't. Now they have that little caste system BS too, but at least they have some sort of decency to say that they are Hindus. They're just dark skinned Hindus. Over here in America, they say you're black. You're not even in America. It's crazy. That's crazy. So this movement doesn't teach division. It teaches equality, right? It teaches that all are equal under the law, whether the law is God to you, the creator to, however you want to identify the creator. All are equal under this natural law. And that the only thing that can determine someone having a higher or lower status is due to the piety or the piousness of the individual. The more pious you are, the more noble in character you are, the higher your station will be or your rank will be in society, because there will be people who will know of your character and desire, like, yeah, you know what, he's an outstanding citizen. You know, he does this, he does that, he doesn't negatively impact the people. Yeah, we should all get together and organize and then make him our authorized representative. That's what piousness does. And someone who is of a negative quality of character, obviously you're not going to raise that man up to any type of authority over yourself or representation over yourself. But in the beginning, we all have the same capacity. And it's up to you and your deeds that determines whether you have a high rank or a low rank or even no rank at all. I hope this has been helpful. I appreciate you all for listening, right? As always, I'm your brother, man, Brandon Davis Ali. Just come to show you the way to your higher self, right? And you can join the Moorish Science Temple of America. Let me rephrase that. Let me, before I leave, right? The movement. No, what is going on? That's what's going on. The Moorish Divine and National Movement is incorporated into this government. Okay? So the movement is the thought. Right? Drew Ali was telling you to come to the Moorish Science Temple of America to join the movement in that era of time. But this is a new era of time. in this era of time, as founder and prophet or president of the American Nationals Uniform Economic Reform Administration, you can join in the uplifting of fallen humanity under this organization in this new day and age. A new era, we are actually DBA, a new era of time. So in this era of time, nunc pro tunc, you can get down with the Moorish Divine, the national movement. I'm going to have one more reading. One more reading. All right. And when I read this, I would like for you all, in your own minds, to substitute the Moorish Science Temple of America with a new era of time. Just in your mind. Okay? And for those of you who think that it's a problem, we don't care. Because if you were doing what you were supposed to be doing, then I would be inviting everybody to the Moorish Science Temple of America. Anywho. Okay. So this is my invitation to all state citizens and to all nations. Okay. We're going to read from the newspaper article called Prophet Drew Ali Speaks to the Nations. So he's speaking to everybody through his newspaper. Okay. He says, if you have race pride and love your race, join the Moorish Science Temple of America and become a part of this divine movement. Then you will have power to redeem your race because you will know who you are and who your forefathers were. Because where there is unity, there is strength. Together we stand. Divided, we fall. Come, good people, because I, the principal, sent to redeem this nation from mental slavery, so that's the social, moral, and economic slavery, which you have now, need every one of you who think that your condition can be better. Condition relates to state and status. This is a field open to strong men and women to uplift the nation as a whole and take your place in the affairs of men. True administration of government. Listen to them. So listen to me. If the Europeans and other nations are helping me, let me say that again. If the European nations and other nations are helping me, why not you? It's your problem. The Negro problem, or the 14th Amendment citizenship stateless problem, is being solved only as it can. And that is by the Moorish Divine and National Movement, which is incorporated. Excuse me, he didn't say that part there. He says, if you have a nation, so if you have a state, you must have a free national name or state name in order to be recognized by this nation, the USA, as an American citizen. This is what is meant when it is said, seek ye first the kingdom of heaven, and all these things will be added unto you. This is all about nationality here. and equality here. Drew Ali said the Europeans were helping him. So for all these Moors out here talking crazy about the Europeans, obviously y'all niggas, y'all some niggas. Y'all some niggas. And I know Drew Ali said don't call the brothers the N-word with the ER, but I'm gonna call you what you are. Y'all some niggas, man. Dirty Moors, you're soiled Muslims. You need to make hustle. You need to make wudu. You need to clean your hands. You need to get your deeds right. Period. The new era of time is the organization that is upholding Drew Ali's movement. Y'all can have the Moorish Science Temple of America. I'm not coming. This is where we coming from. This is for everybody. So with that, peace and love to you all. I am your brother, man. Hope to hear from you. You all take care. Invest in yourself. Invest in one another. Stop listening to these hate mongers. Real shit.